Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day wherever they are. Sometimes I swear, and I'm not responsible if anybody gets hurt. Today I'm going to do a reading on Diane Keaton. She was born January 5th, 1946 in Los Angeles, California. She died October 11th, 2025 in California. She was a Capricorn. She has two children. She never married. She was 5'7". So I'm going to do, and she's been in a ton of movies, Looking for Mr. Goodbar, some other movies. Hannah, uh, um, uh, she was in Manhattan, um, a bunch of movies with Woody Allen. So tell me about her childhood. How was Diane's childhood? Please tell me about Diane Keaton's childhood. How did it go? Was it good? Please tell me. Yep. Please tell me about Diane Keaton's childhood, please. Diane? I'll do 3 cards. I'll do what I can. That's 3. Diane Keaton. There was some disharmony in her childhood. I think she was lonely sometimes, and she wasn't the most happy with going to school and learning in school. Like, she'd rather just play and have fun than go to school. And she worked alone, she didn't have a lot of friends. I guess she was an introvert. Capricorns are introvert. And she had conflict with the people she went to school. The students and the people that she went to school, she had some conflicts with them. She didn't always get along with the people she went to school with. Diane. She encouraged, though, she didn't want anybody to set her back. She went to school and did her lessons, and she worked hard, and she was courage. She set boundaries. Like, she didn't take crap from people if they were bullying her. She didn't take any crap from people. She was being bullied. And she was worried about how people treated her. She didn't like she stood up for herself. She just didn't like how people treated her sometimes. And the taste of faith, I guess she has some kind of religious thing, and she tested her faith. Like, she was kind of religious in her own way in some ways, and she tested her faith. She wasn't sure how to go about it because she was raised in the faith. She tried to avoid conflict. She didn't like to fight with people, her parents, her family, the people she worked with, in movies. She avoided conflict. She didn't want to fight with people in the movies. Like, she didn't want to fight with the people that she was making movies with. Like, with Woody Allen, she didn't want to fight with him. The people, in all the different movies, she tried to avoid conflict. She didn't like that. And also she agreed to disagree. She might have not agreed with what you have to say, but she just lived with it. Like, let it over her head, go over her head. She didn't like conflict, like I said. And she respected differences. How she dressed in Annie Hall. She respected people's difference, how they dressed. She was very open-minded on how people dressed and how they acted. She's a very open-minded person, Diane Keaton. She didn't care how you dressed, if you were gay or something like that. She really didn't care how you dressed. It was up to you. She didn't really care. She was like sort of a hippie kind of person. So she really didn't care on how people dressed and how they dressed and everything, And she might agree to disagree on how, she did the acting and the producers and everything. She agreed to disagree. She might have not agreed with it 100%, but she wasn't going to, cause problems too. So she did have disagreements with the people she worked with, but she was going to say, it happens to the best of us. She's like, it is what it is. All right, so how did she get along with her parents? Did she get along good with her parents? Please tell me. Diane, did you get along good with her parents? Did you get along good with your mom and dad, or did you do your own thing? 3 cards, please. Diane, did you do your own thing? She wanted harmony with her parents. She didn't want fighting. Diane didn't. She just wanted to do her own thing. She didn't want to fight with her brothers and sisters and her parents. She wanted harmony. She didn't want disagreements with her family and family. If she had any brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, she wanted to get along with people. She doesn't like fighting with people. She just liked to do her own thing. And there was some deception in our family. They didn't always tell the truth. You know, they kind of sometimes lied, which she didn't like. And sometimes she thought people did all talk and no action. Like they talked the talk, but they didn't do the walk. So sometimes she was tired of that. She had some moodiness, and people in her family were kind of moody. Like she wanted her parents and family to say one thing, but they did, you know, her family was moody, you know, they had a bad temper and they were moody, you know, and they got jealous. People in her family got jealous, you know, things didn't go the way they would throw fits and get upset. So they had some tempers and jealousy, and they were disappointed in how things went when she went and wanted to be an actress. I think they were jealous of being an actress. You know, being friends with Woody Allen. They were just jealous about her acting with Woody Allen. They weren't sure if he would have been a good director or producer, so they were kind of jealous. And he might have been a little bit of jealous too on how he came across as being an actor, because you know she could hold her own. So yeah, and she did have some moodiness, and she was kind of disappointed in sometimes of the roles she got. She wasn't 100% happy with the appointments of what she was going to do, the acting. So sometimes she was disappointed. Sometimes she was disappointed in some of the acting that she did. All right. So how did she get along with the men and women? You know, the women. You know, did she get along with women very well? You know, in her career, did she get along with her co-stars in her movies? Did she get along with her co-stars? Please tell me, Diane. Did you get along with your co-stars in the movies, or were they okay? Yeah, did she like them, or did she think they were a pain in the ass? You know. Did she not like her co-stars in the movie she was in? Did she think they were a pain in the ass? Hold on. Please, wait. Yeah, hold on. Please tell me, did she get along with her co-stars? Diane Keaton, did she get along with the female co-stars in the movies that she was in, or were they kind of jealous and temperamental, and they said, I don't like the way you're acting? Hold on, please. It's hard to shuffle these cards. Hold on, please. All right. Did she get jealous? Oh, they got jealous. Hold on. Excuse me, my nose runs. They tried to sabotage her relationship. The women did sabotage her jobs, and there were some failures in her jobs. You know, she was a very independent woman, Diane Keaton, and she didn't like how the women treated her as an actress. You know, her female co-workers kind of like jealous of her because she was going to be a rising star, so they were kind of jealous. And they were hungry for, you know, being famous and stuff. and the women in her, working as a person, they were, they were hungry, money hungry. The actresses, for Diane Keaton, they were kind of selfish. They didn't want to help, and her be someone famous. And they were very egotistical, where they thought, oh, I don't want to help her become famous. They only thought of themselves and not helping other people. They were selfish. Some of the women that she was becoming famous were selfish. She tried to be courage and strength, and she wanted to be a great actress. She tried to work hard and be famous and not let anybody pull her down. So Diane Keaton tried to work hard, and she was compassionate. She was a nice person to work with, even though some of the women weren't. She was very compassionate with her roles and the people and the other workers. She tried to be compassionate with her female co-workers, even though they're not the most easiest to people. Sorry, my allergies. And she liked some of the finer things in life of being an actress. That happens. Some women want to be famous and have luxury stuff like clothes, food, being popular, yeah. And she wanted a comfortable life, and not necessarily is wrong with being popular and wanting to be popular, and had the funnest things in life, like Diane Keaton wanted the funnest things in life, and nothing's wrong with that, long as you do it in a positive way. And she tried to be, self-confident. She was a self-confident person. She said, oh, looks good. I want to be confident. I want to be popular. She didn't want things to be, oh, I got two for the price of one. Yeah, she did less talk, and she felt more. She was not a big talker. She can be introverted sometimes. Sometimes she could be. This says that she's a Pisces, but not necessarily less talk. She's not a big talker, Diane Keaton. She sometimes kept to herself. And she tried not to leave leave her family and friends behind her. She wanted to be popular. That's the moon in Capricorn. Leave the past behind. She wanted to leave the past behind. She didn't want to fight with her co-workers. The people were working. How she had a disagreement with the other workers. Like Woody Allen and stuff. She tried to leave. They had a good relationship, and then they broke up. They had a romantic relationship, and then they broke up, and then they did, and then he went with Mira Farrow, and they broke up, so, she thought, she thought, let's change, I'll try to be more a positive person and leave people behind, and not let it bother me, because Woody Allen went out with Mira Farrow, and then they broke up, and Diane Keaton ended up going back with Diane Keaton to make a murder mystery. So, yeah, she's leaving it behind her. And trust is divine. Yeah, she tried to trust people, making movies, making films, doing interviews. Yeah, Coyote spirit. So, yeah, trust is divine. So she tried to be more positive in the relationships that she was in. Diane Keaton, being an actress, a director, or a producer. She tried to be more, positive there. The black cat. So he tried to have a better relationship with Diane Keaton. I'm not really sure what that means, but to have a good relationship. So Diane Keaton tried to have a better relationship, and not let it bother her in other relationships. So, all right. Now I'm going to do one on, let me think. I did that. All right. We asked about her Did she have a lot of boyfriends, Diane Keaton, when she was, when she got older? Did she have a lot of boyfriends, Diane Keaton? Did she have a lot of boyfriends, Diane Keaton, when she got older? Or was she more introverted and didn't want to talk to guys too much? Because that can happen. Was she an introvert and not had a lot of boyfriends? Please tell me. Did Diane Keaton have a lot of boyfriends, or did she keep it to herself and didn't want to talk to guys very much? She was kind of quiet. Please tell me, Diane. She felt overwhelmed in the relationship sometimes, and there was chaos and overly committed. She tried to be committed in the relationship she was with the boys and the men and the boys, like Woody Allen, and I think she dated. Let me think. She dated Warren Beatty or some other of these famous actors. So she felt overwhelmed in the relationship, and she liked to be organized in the relationship. Like, I think she dated a couple people at a time, and she overextended herself. Like, she dated a bunch of different guys in the relationship. She didn't want a serious relationship. When she got older, and she got distracted in the relationship. She wasn't sure if she wanted to date multiple people or not. There wasn't bad news. She had bad news, like maybe she couldn't have children when she got older. She never married. Maybe she couldn't have children. Sometimes that happens. And she was impatient on having children. She wasn't so sure that she wanted children or she could have children. Sometimes people couldn't have children. So she was kind of disappointed in that. She would have to redirect herself. I think she was a very independent person, and she did what she could because of not, working out, being an actress. Maybe she couldn't be an actress, and the guys wanted her to be how some guys just don't want you to be an actress. They want you to stay home, and she's not that kind of person. She planned ahead, like what is she going to do with her money and her fame once she becomes famous in the relationship. She's not sure the guy would want her to be famous and make money. And the long-term goal was she was going to save her money and become famous. And, with a lot of men celebrities, they don't want you to become famous. They want you to stay home and have the kids and stuff. But she wanted to have both, and she invested money a lot in her relationships and in her money. Being a different path. A different path is being revealed as. So she had a different path. Like, she wasn't sure if wasn't sure if she wanted a traditional relationship. Like Betty, like in the '50s, like Leave It to Beaver. I don't think she's the type. That he didn't want it to be the Leave It to Beaver type, where you stay home and cook and stuff, and do the laundry and stuff. Ask for help and learn to connect. She wanted help to be connected to people. She wanted to have a good relationship with people. You can cast a spell, magic flows, bring and radiant within you. I guess she wanted people to get to like her and know her the better. Lost in the ruins of past. May the way to prevent moments and live. I'm not sure what this means. I guess she had some sad times in her past in relationships. Okay, ask another question. She dated a couple different guys. When she adopted the children, I'm going to ask that about her adopting children. Is it because, the relationship, sorry about that. That's my dog, Michaela. Did she adopt the kids because she couldn't find a spouse or she didn't want to get married? 3, did she adopt the kids because she didn't want to get married and, it wasn't her thing to get married? Michaela, you be nice. Michaela, quiet. Did she not want to be married when she adopted the kids? Because some kids don't want to, adopt. So please tell me, did she not want to adopt children? She wanted to adopt children because she didn't want them. Sorry, my dog barks sometimes. I'll do two other cards. Did she not want to get married? Is that the reason why she never got married? Is because she didn't want to? Oh boy, hold on, please. The challenge, struggle. She had a struggle. I think she had a struggle of having children, and she wasn't sure how to do it. I think she just couldn't have children. She was a struggle, and she needed someone to protect her. Maybe she couldn't have children, like and adoption was the only way she could go, and she tries to challenge herself and struggle. There was struggle, like she couldn't have children. She tried to have children, but she couldn't have it. Maybe she something happened when she was younger that she didn't have her periods, or she couldn't have children. Like artificial insemination. Maybe she couldn't do that, and she was getting, by the time she wanted kids, she was too old. Because at a certain age you can't have children anymore. Yeah, so it was preventing her from having children when she got older. She couldn't have children when you get older, so she adopted. So there were problems. There were disasters in the idea of her having children. She couldn't have children because she got older. Maybe people were afraid because she couldn't have any kids because of, she would have to adopt. There were problems, there were chaos. Maybe people weren't sure if she would be a good mother. There was just problems with the thought of her having, and there was tragedy. Maybe she had a couple miscarriages when she was with some guys. She had miscarriages. I think she had miscarriages. She might have had miscarriages, when she was with other guys. She was pregnant, or she thought she was pregnant. She just couldn't have children. I think, and it was painful for her not to be able to have children, because she might have tried to have children with celebrities and they didn't want you to know. So, and there was sudden change, like maybe she tried to have children with celebrities or people, and she couldn't get herself pregnant. So there were problems of her trying to have children. She thought that it would be really nice if she could have children. She'd be happy. The Mother card, the Queen of Wands. She was exhausted. She tried to be confident that she would be a great mother, even though she couldn't have it in a natural way. Adopting, she was warmth, and she tried to be nice and caring and loving to her kids that she tried to have. And this says, Jester, you may be asked to help someone. So she helped someone who couldn't take care of their own kids, so she adopted. These people couldn't take the responsibility of having children, so she decided to adopt. And this is, you are starting, growing your working situation. So she outgrowed her situation working. As she got older, she didn't want to work as much. She wanted, with the snake, she wanted to be with her kids as more. There were less opportunities for work. So she she had other goals that she wanted to do. Maybe work with children and stuff, than always working with in movies. So yeah, she just had bad luck with having children. She couldn't have it naturally. She might have tried to get pregnant with the other guys she was with, but it didn't turn out that way. All right. Is there anything else you want us to know, Diane Keaton, before the thing, because we know you passed away? Can you let me know? Is there anything you want to say before I end this, Diane Keaton? Because I liked her movies, She was a good actress with Woody Allen. They had a good connection together. I thought they did, in making movies. He was funny, and she was funny, too. She had a good sense of humor, too. She could play funny people, too. Yeah, she was around since the 70s. All right, I'm going to do 3 cards. So, Diane, do you have anything to say? Uh, her personal beliefs. A lot of people didn't like her personal beliefs because of the way she dressed in the 70s, you know, wearing suits and stuff, and she had her own style. You know, she beat to her own drum. A lot of people didn't like it, and she liked to have freedom, you know, and she going against the grain. She didn't like to be the traditional woman. She liked to, you know, she was a lot like a lot of other famous, like Katharine Hepburn, who didn't dress like feminine. She was like, she dressed her own way. She liked to be her own person. And some people might have thought she was foolish, but she was also very generous with her money. You know, she probably gave to charities. And she came clean saying that, you know, I'm not going to have children the normal way. I'm going to adopt. I'm a single woman. I'm not going to have children, you know, the natural way. I'm going to adopt. So, you know, and she kept some secrets. There's some secrets that she kept in her life that she didn't want other people to know about. And she had inner feelings, like before she died, she was feeling really crappy and feeling terrible. So, yeah. She tried to care herself, and she self-loved herself, and she took care of her kids and everything before she died. So yeah, she didn't feel good when she was, you know, dying. I think she died from cancer. So until my next video, take care and bye.